and everything. And then I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. You guys have been crushing it. Absolutely. It's so cool.
Oh, thank you. That's too funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think being so Ratchet, I'm from Connecticut, so I'm on the
Mhm.
complete opposite side of the country from you. But I feel like
Yeah.
Idaho and Boise is almost like my second home in my heart because my mom lives in Idaho.
Oh, shut up. Really?
Yeah, yeah. So
Has
it
she
feels
always
like
been here?
no, but she moved out there probably 2020.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So not too long, but that's awesome. Have you
Yeah.
visited?
Yes. And I'll be back in July.
Okay. Well, let's hang out.
Yeah, we'll have to.
What did you do while you were here? Like, did you ride or anything?
No, because I'm just flying out. So,
Fair.
and
Yeah.
then, when you're visiting family, it's like you never get to fully do what you want to do. You got to visit.
Yeah.
So,
I
but yeah,
know.
I'll
I
be
know.
out July 31st and I
Oh,
gotta
hell
book
yeah.
I haven't booked my ticket home yet, but I'll be for a week or so.
Oh, sick. Yeah. We'll definitely have to connect. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm from Connecticut. Jen's actually
Mhm.
from
Hi, Jen.
Massachusetts and
Oh, okay.
then but lives in North Carolina. So
Okay.
I feel like we had like kind of a strong personal connection here in the Northeast with a lot of girls, but then I travel a lot. So I got to meet so many people down south and out west and gotten to meet
Yeah.
and like be friends with so many people. So it's
Yeah.
kind of spread into the west. We're getting there.
Hmm. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's kind of the fun part about doing anything like in this community is just like building the connections and like connecting with other girls that are just doing kind of the same thing. That's so fun.
Yeah. So
That's like been the hmm?
I was going to say, how did you get started with everything that you did?
Like dirt biking?
All of
Um,
it.
all of it. Okay.
Take
Um,
us back.
gosh. So I met my husband. Well, he was my boyfriend at the time, husband now, but he dirt biked like growing up and everything. And because he's from Boise, like I had just moved to um, Boise from Minnesota actually when I was 18. So I graduated high school. I met him my first year of college. Within like a handful of months, I was just like, oh, like that dirt bike thing, that's cool. And I just one day was just like, take me out on it. And it's like a YZ 450F. And I'm like, I want to ride that shit. And he takes me up, like, it's not really like you can't really ride anywhere. It was basically a parking lot close to town. But like essentially long story short, I got on this 450, but like I couldn't touch the ground, of course. And so he's riding on the back and I'm just like figuring out how to do the throttle thing or whatever. And I mean, it was so fun. I'm just like, oh, this is sick. But I was like, I need to touch the ground. So literally that night, I got on Craigslist and I found a TTR 125 on Craigslist and it was right after tax return season. So I was just like, yes, let's go. So I went and literally bought a dirt bike the next day. Um, and then, yeah, I mean, he just started taking me out because he knew the ropes and everything. And just kind of started figuring that out. And I mostly rode trails for like a really long time. Um, but this kind of transitioned into like my whole like discover for fitness. Because like I tipped the bike over, couldn't pick it up. I was weak. Like I literally couldn't do a push up in this time. So I'm just like, well, shit. Like we need to be able to handle this. And it's like a little bike too. So it's just like, cool. Okay, great. So like I started working out at like Planet Fitness, I think. And just essentially through all of that, I discovered a love for fitness and like obviously decided to be a personal trainer. Um, and within like a couple years, I think it was just like 2 years after I started dirt biking, I took up mountain biking. Nick had a piece of shit clapped out, I think like giant bike that he had from when he was 13. And he's like, okay, you need to learn to love it first before we buy you anything. And so like, you know, pedaling in the foothills has never been my favorite thing in the world. I've always been more for the thrill, but like, we did some rides there. Then he took me to Brundage Mountain, which is a resort not too far from our place. Um, and we're going downhilling essentially. And I mean, we're still on green runs. I'm just chilling. And he feels really bad. He's just like, it doesn't look like your front forks are like moving at all. And and I know nothing. I'm literally just riding the goddamn bike. Like I don't know what it's supposed to be doing or, you know. And so we bring it into like the bike like mechanic that was just there. And we're just like, well, Nick's just like, can you like, you know, lube these up or like help this, you know, in any sort of way? And he was just like, no, like there's nothing we can do for this bike. And he felt so bad. So he let me borrow a downhill, one of their like downhill mountain bikes for the day. And then like after that, I got to experience what that was like going down a mountain. And I was just like, yeah, we're in. Like I love this. I need my own bike. So yeah, the story's told.
Yeah, there is nothing worse than riding downhill on a non-downhill bike.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean it was all the shit like from like probably 15 years prior, and it had just been sitting in a garage for God knows how long. It was like this is yeah, kind of pointless. But I understood. I was just like, I get that you don't want me to spend like a few grand on a bike and I'm gonna like bitch out and hate it in like 2 months and be like, this is stupid. I don't like this. So
Yeah,
totally fair. But
it's
yeah,
funny. It's funny you say that. I actually started on a Giant. So like when I was
hmm
dating like my high school boyfriend, he was into mountain biking and he was a motocrosser. So
yeah.
he ended up, or his mom, whoever, bought me a Giant for my birthday, you know, back when I
hmm
was like 16, 17. And I think, I think, I'm trying to think if it, I don't even think it had like front suspension. And so it was just like, then when I met my husband and he was into riding and we'd start mountain biking, I remember like the picture. I'm just like, you know, in some Walmart mountain bike helmet, my
Uh-huh.
pink sweatshirt and my, you know, leggings, like out
Yeah.
riding this yellow Giant that was pure torture. But I was like, I'm not spending money until I like love this and I'm willing to commit to it. So I
No,
hear that.
100%. Yeah, like I don't blame him. Like, because it's no joke. It's not like a walk in the park to, I mean, especially if you've never, I mean, I grew up in Minnesota, so like I'd never even like seen a mountain bike ever. So I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna casually go pedal this thing up like a super steep hill. It's like harder than walking. Like, why? But yeah, clearly it stuck. So it all worked out.
I feel
So
like
how
we need that. You know, we need to start on like the not the best stuff and either
hmm
decide, okay, yes, we're gonna continue, or like at least you know it's an easy way to get out. But I feel like if you love the sport,
Yeah.
that first bike you're never gonna forget. And it is just something you can always talk about. This is how
Yeah.
I
Well,
started.
and it builds appreciation too. I mean,
That it
and
does.
you really cherish what you have once you actually spend the dollar and you're like, oh, this is yeah, way
Hmm.
better. So yeah. Yeah. Don't mind me. I literally have like the worst allergies ever. And like every fall and every spring I lose my voice at least like 3 times. And so I'm like, this couldn't happen at a better time. But yeah.
that's all right.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean essentially from like we started dirt biking, we started mountain biking, and like obviously like the fitness aspect grew, and I was really really passionate about creating kind of the same stoke for other women essentially, just like wanting to become stronger and become better at like dirt biking, mountain biking, like whatever it is. I mean, because we know that especially being women, we need a little bit more effort um, in the gym when it comes to like handling our bikes. Like men have natural strength, and it's just like essentially like fuck you, um, and we have to work a lot harder for it. And so I just that was essentially kind of how it all tied together, and thus TrailMix training kind of became a thing. And yeah,
How long ago? So when did you start riding? How many years has it been?
gosh, I just looked this up the other day because this asks people ask this all the time. Like I want to say I started dirt biking like that 7 years ago. Let's just stick with that. I want to say it was like 7. Yeah. And then like mountain biking came like a year or two later.
And then when did the fitness come into play for you? Where you like really wanted to like become a personal trainer?
Yeah, like almost immediately. Like I had already had like an interest in fitness. That kind of just stemmed from like running and stuff through high school. And like my goal originally in college was to do physical therapy. And so that was kind of already like on that track. But then I kind of just discovered like, well, I actually like doing this. And it's really awesome to just train people individually. Like I never wanted to fully go into the medical field because that was like, that's gross. But I mean, personally, I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Me either.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just knew I wanted to do stuff. Like I was always so intrigued by like biomechanics and anatomy and just like how the body works and how it moves. And yeah, so like I was already kind of debating that. And then once I kind of discovered that passion for myself, and seeing just how it helped me not only bike, but I built a lot of confidence throughout, like building confidence in the gym and becoming stronger and just kind of becoming a better version of myself, I guess. And then, yeah, just seeing it translate on the bike and everything like that. Because the strongest moments always happen on the bike for me. And that's like, we train to bike, not like the other way around. So yeah.
I love that. Congratulations on it all. I mean, I think, it's all stepping stones into, you had an idea of what you wanted to do, and then slowly but surely, it brought you to where you are now. So congratulations. And with the gym itself, finding confidence and being able to ride your bike to the potential that you want to it's just an amazing feeling overall, between mentally, physically, and for other people as well. So
yeah, for sure. Thanks. Yeah, I lost my train of thought. I was listening to you. I yeah, no, like I think it was it was like 2022 was the year I realized like, oh, I can like mash all this together. Like why wouldn't I just create, like I love doing these things. And like because I was just training we have like one of our big box gyms. I was there for a little bit. And that's just kind of how you get your foot in the door. Then I was at the Y for a little. And then I started at the gym that I'm still at currently, which had a lot more flexibility in like what I'm able to do and how I'm able to market myself and like actually create my own individual business and like simply just kind of train there. Like you're just contracted. So that like led to a lot more flexibility to just be able to do what I wanted. And so I started thinking like and playing and toying with like, okay, what do we call it? How do we, like, what is this exactly going to look like? And so that was like 2022, I had that vision and like, playing with it a little bit here and there. And then 2023, right? No, it was the end of 2022. I got hurt. And so I was like, oh, what an opportune time to like, I can't do anything else but sit at a computer and like do nothing. So like what an opportune time to kind of create that vision a little bit and just create a path for what I wanted that to be. And yeah, so I launched TrailMix Training when I was in a sling on the couch for however long that was. It was way too long, honestly. But yeah.
So I work with a lot of women, helping them launch businesses, and it's really, I am obsessed with like your branding and the name and how it's all coming together. Like the content is so good.
Oh my God, stop. Thank you.
But really, the first time I saw it, I was like, that's so good. And you've done amazing things with it, like branding wise and marketing wise. But
that's great to hear because I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
Did you do it on your own?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, it's so good.
It's a one-woman show, baby. Hey, website, that's me. Marketing, that's me. Like,
Awesome. How did you, I think creating the vision sometimes, how did you believe in your vision? Because this is something I work with a lot with women is they're like, I want to do something, but I don't know what. And it's like, I think your gut always knows what you want, but trusting it in the realm of reality and needing to make money and life,
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard to do.
Yeah. Well, like being a trainer, you have the flexibility to like be able to spend time investing in like and putting into like the side hustle, right? And obviously it all kind of coincides too. Um, but like I saw like just nothing else in the market. So it was like, why? I mean, you see like there's, you know, a handful of pretty well known like male trainers um that focus on the same things. There's a handful of like those Instagram accounts with, you know, other and like they may be training pros and like they, you know, good for them. Awesome. I just knew that there wasn't necessarily something built like this for women, especially made by a woman. And so it was a calling. It really was. It was just like, this means like dirt biking and mountain biking really developed a lot of who I am in like so many ways, not just like on my bike or in fitness, but just like who I am as a person. And like building that confidence and trust in yourself and in your gut and all those things. It was just like a no-brainer, honestly, because I just wanted to be able to like help other women understand that they are capable of the exact same thing. So, and that this is how I found it. So, like, let me help you find it too.
Yeah, I
But yeah,
completely.
that's all.
I hear that, and that's
Yeah.
why I always say that's why Rad Chicks started, because I started dirt biking really late. Like Jen also was a horseback rider for the longest time. I was a horseback rider
Oh
for
yeah.
the longest time, and I got to a point of like, all right, my horse passed away. I'm traveling, so I'm not gonna get another horse, but I needed some sort of challenge, and so I started dirt biking. But when I started dirt biking, my husband and everyone I'm surrounded with, they're all professional, like, you know, professional. They have their
Intense.
professional, they have their license. Like
Yeah.
they're legit pros racing nationals,
Mm-hmm.
or were racing nationals. And I'm like
And
surrounded
you're
by
like,
these people who
hey.
are so good. And I'm just like, hey, got my brown leather boots and my cowboy boots on my TTR 125. So
Yeah. Oh my God.
I was like, kind of same thing as you, is like, there's no way I'm the only one that feels this way. And that's kind of how this all started.
Yeah.
But I think always that personal story and that personal connection is the strongest thing that you can create to make something succeed and really connect with people to help them.
Oh, 100%. And like, even when I mean, it's not like it's necessarily an easy task to accomplish, but the thing is like, if that's what like your heart is set on and what you truly think your purpose is in life, like you're always going to come back to that, and it's just going to refuel you over and over again. And of course, like seeing it also come to life is just very motivating. And like then getting to hear client stories and like feedback and just the ways that it has improved in their lives too. It yeah, it sets you up for success for sure.
Absolutely. Do you have a client story that sticks out to you? A success story?
Oh, let me think. Well, you know, funny enough, one of my oh, she's my girl. And it actually has nothing to do with TrailMix. Um, I met her. She was one of my clients at the Y when I was there. And I think we're almost coming up on our 5-year anniversary actually. So she's been with me almost since I started training. Um, and her goal was, I mean, it was very simple. She's in her late 40s when I met her, early 50s now. Um, but her goal was essentially like, I just want to like not like I just want to be able to like stay healthy throughout, you know, my older years, and not to I'm like trying not to like share too much. I don't know how much she'd care, but like her mom had fallen and gotten hurt, and so she was like, I just don't want to do that. I want to be like in a place where I'm strong enough to where when I'm older I can rely on my own abilities. And 5 years later, well, 4 years later, last year, she went skiing for the very first time. She was learning how to do it, and it was like the coolest thing because she's just like, I mean, 5 years ago she had like was wouldn't even go paddleboarding. And like a couple years into that, she's like, I did paddleboarding for the very first time. It opened up a lot of new opportunities for her that she never would have had prior to that. And she went skiing again just this last year, like several times. Like she loves it and she's doing amazing. And but that's just something that was super duper not in the cards for her to start, and is now. And like she's even older than she was when she started, and it's really cool to see. And just like the smile, oh gosh, and she's the best. Honestly, she's like one of my besties. But yeah, that's again not like necessarily TrailMix related, but client story.
It's amazing.
Yeah, she's the best.
You can really see it. Like you really do care about your clients a lot. Just like how you can speak, how you light up, and like those I call them light bulb moments, but you know, whether it's progression, whether it's being able to go paddleboarding, or whether it's being able to go on the mountain or multiple times, like it's all those little things are like so exciting. And that's where even on, you know, a riding level as well, that's where those little moments, it's like go from your first bike to the other bike, or feeling stronger. It's just amazing. Those little stepping stones.
Yeah. And honestly, usually people just need a little direction and a little accountability, because like it's within themselves. They already know what they want. You just, it's like part of my job just to be like, here's the steps to get you there. Because like you're already on your way. You've already decided like that's what you want. And it's just, this is what you got to do now.
I love that.
Now, within yourself, I know Jen's wanted to talk about this on the podcast because she was not comfortable or confident in going to the gym. So within like your own journey, or even like what you see in your clients, how do you gain the confidence to show up in the gym and do your thing? And I feel these days, so I haven't been to the gym in I work out, but I haven't been to the gym probably since like 2021. And holy moly, it is a different world with all these girls, because girls, when I was going to the gym, weren't going to the gym the way they are today. And
right. It's
all these girls are in like sports bras now, and they're jacked, and holy moly, they got some booties on them. And that was not the focus a few years back. So I would love to hear, like, how do you gain that confidence, or how do your clients gain that confidence in getting to the gym?
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, the first thing is, well, number one, don't give a fuck. Like everybody's way more concerned about what they're doing, and literally nobody cares what you're doing. So like, I mean, that's what I had to tell myself at first. Cause like, obviously, like I've been there, like when I first started, it was just like, oh God, like I probably am doing this wrong too. Like, and I'm skinny. I have no muscle. Like, it's just, you know, nothing's going on or working for me. But I mean, yeah. So number one, don't give a fuck. You do you. And then second, like having a general understanding of like your exercises and your workout, and honestly, like just kind of choosing things that do make you feel comfortable. Like if you feel more comfortable getting all your stuff, going into a corner and just doing it there, by all means, but don't be afraid to take up space. Like seriously, because everybody else, like the more confidence that you portray, whether it's there or not, like the less that anybody's going to question what you're doing. But again, like, because you're always going to be concerned like about what people are thinking, and like especially if you're not sure what you're doing. But just own it. If you are doing it wrong, so what? Like you're gonna learn the more that you do it, and the next time you go to the gym, it's going to be easier, and the next time it's going to be even easier. And then you're obviously just going to learn more as you go too. But that is kind of like job security for me though, because people just want to learn. And then I'm like, yeah, I know how to do it. Come with me.
Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I think it's so funny too in the gym, like the first, pre-background, riding horses, like I was working in the barn. So it was like the end of the day, I did not want to go work out. I felt like I had done enough. And then taking a step away, starting riding and everything, fast forward to an injury, I then was so weak, tried to get back on my bike, had no confidence. So started going to the gym, and even my fiance, and now I see it, is nobody cares what you're actually doing. They have their own blinders on. I will tell you, I flew off machines because oh my God, I thought there was like a back on one of them, and I was like, you know, things, right? You know, like you just, things happen and you look around and nobody even sees what happened. Nobody. You can do whatever. It just, it's that one step that you take, and then you're like, oh, I survived. I did it.
Because you think like most of the time people in like your typical box gym they're in there because like, let's not call out the gym bros, but they're really just, they're getting good pump, like whatever, great. But they're also just like checking themselves out most of the time because they're interested in themselves. Right. So like, they don't care what you're doing. Exactly. Like, you don't need to worry about any of that. And honestly, if you really start looking around, almost everybody's always doing something wrong. It, like, as a professional, like, everybody's not doing it right. So let's just put that out there, and you can just lead with that.
I love that. Perfect your craft as you just, keep going. And I can see that as well. There's a couple of videos I'm like, oh my gosh, like I had taken like a couple, and fast forward to now, I'm like, oh, good thing I didn't post those. No, just kidding.
Oh my gosh, no. I still think that sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's not, man, I need to work on that. Like, it's the same thing. Like, we're not perfect. And honestly, just the more that you do train, the more like better proprioception, like more aware of your body and like how it's moving, that just increases over time. And so like sometimes you don't even know you're doing something wrong. It's just very particular. So it's all a learning situation for sure.
Exactly. Question for you as well, because I feel like a lot of women, I've had an injury. Jess, have you had any major injuries?
Well, major in like horseback riding, and then I tore my AC.
Okay.
So in the fall, BMXing, hitting a rock.
Yeah. Exactly. So at the end of the day, we've all gone through injuries, and Grace, I'd really like to hear how you went through, how you got through it, and how you then gained confidence to also get back on bikes, because I think it can be really, really, really hard.
Yeah. No. Yeah. In all honesty, like I'm still working through some of that. Because I got hurt end of 2023. A broken collarbone, something that should only take like six to, max like 12 weeks.
And what happened? How did that happen?
I was hitting a pretty big jump, like a jump line that I've done a million times. Turns out though, the line was like being worked on, and like, so my friends and we never start at the beginning of the run. We always just drop in kind of like after the whale tail, essentially. And so I didn't see, like, none of us saw that it was actually like blocked out with like tape, like I don't know, string. Gosh, what am I thinking? It was blocked off. It was closed still, yes. And because they weren't done, fix it, like changing the lips and stuff. And so I went and I hit this, the same line that I've done a million times. And I kept on just getting super tossed forward. And like, obviously, like I wasn't pulling enough, but it was completely different than past times that I had ridden it. And so literally, like, my friend and we went and did some other things, and we come back and we're like, all right, 2 more, skip the last. And we were going to cruise. And so, of course, last run of the day, and I just went so far over my handlebars, and I just landed right on my shoulder. And it's funny because like I kind of like sat up a little bit, and I'm moving my shoulder, and I'm like, oh, hell yeah, like I'm good. I thought I would have like completely dislocated it. And I'm like, oh yeah, we're chilling. And my friend comes up, she's like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, like I think I just need to like breathe for a sec. And then I actually go to sit up, and I just feel my collarbone just like grind across, literally just like grinding like chicken bone across each other. I was like, yeah, no, fuck, I broke my collarbone for sure.
Oh,
First
no.
first broken bone ever, first injury ever. So yeah, that was back then. And so yeah, like, they say six weeks essentially is how long they say, which is so mean. Like, how dare they shorten that just for the sake of like I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking when they say that. 6 whole months go by and it's still not fully healed. And like I've had like 12 x-rays within the 6 months. And every time they're like, oh, it's getting better, it's getting better. I even went on a bike trip like 4 months in. Because they were like, yeah, you should be good to go. I went on a bike trip. I visited some friends in California, rode, like felt fine. I mean, timid, sure, but like physically felt fine. And then I go in for like what was supposed to be like my last checkup, essentially. And they're like, well, your bones still aren't connected. And I'm like, I'm sorry, why is this like 6 months later and we're just having this conversation? Okay. So guess what? We're coming into summer and then they're like, okay, you need surgery. I'm like, okay, cool. Right. So then that was like essentially all of winter. And then surgery recovery took all of summer. Got in a couple rides at the end of the summer, just right there, like in September. We went to Whistler, broke my thumb. So, which I didn't know I broke my thumb. I waited 3 months before I even got it checked out. So then again, we're like moving into spring and I have a splint on and I'm like, okay, like I don't need another summer where I can't do things. But yeah, so like throughout all that, like, yeah, I got some riding in here and there. Everything was like just pretty fresh, but the longer and longer that it took, the more and more freaked out I was. Just because like not only is it time off the bike, but then you start imagining and it just creating this narrative in your head like, oh, if I get hurt again, it's going to be like another 6 months, it's going to be another year. Like it's so much time. Like you think like it's so much time wasted. Like you're seeing all your friends progress. You feel like you're missing out. You're like, I'm not where I think I should be at this point. But I mean, yeah, we're still working through some cobwebs for sure. Like honestly, like every time I get on a bike now, it's just like I have to block out that fear aspect that I was much better at turning off prior to injury. So it's a completely different mental state at this point. But like, yeah, honestly, like we went to like one of our mountains just last weekend and scared shitless. I'm literally just all I can think in my head is like, just don't crash, like don't be stupid, don't fuck up. And and it was funny because I kept on bailing and it's like I did that because I was scared. I wasn't trusting in myself. I didn't think that I could. And then eventually it was just like, no, just lock it in. Like you've been here before, you know what you're doing. You've done it before. Like why would you not be able to do it now? It's not like the physicality aspect isn't there. It's very much just kind of a mental block at this point. And it's definitely something you have to it's like training your it's let's be cheesy. It's like training your body. It's repetition. It's the same. You have to train your mind in the same way. Because it's been a long time since I've been using my mind in that way, I guess. So yeah, I mean, it can get really deep or it can just be really simple. Honestly, it's just like, well, keep on progressing and keep on pushing yourself and just fucking send it like you used to.
Is there anything that you try to do to help overcome that? So exercises, thoughts, like whatever.
Oh, like exercise wise or like mental wise?
Like mentally, is there anything that you try to do to like put yourself into the moment to get out of those thoughts pre-ride or during your ride?
I've always been a big breather. I'll sit at the top of a run and I'll take 3 deep breaths. Visualization is huge for me. And that's kind of what's messed me up recently because like I used to see my line. I used to see it go perfectly and it was like all there. And now it's a little more scratchy and I see myself eating shit and you're just like, well, that's not the vision I was looking for. So yeah, no, visualization, breathing, and then I usually take 3 deep breaths and then it's like literally just my husband always says this. He's like, all right, babe, bad bitch energy, let's go. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So yeah, so you just kind of got to channel it, honestly, and just tell yourself you got it. Because if you don't think that you do, you don't. And if you're not fully committed, you're gonna get fucked. So that's my tactic.
I love it.
Bad bitch energy.
I think we all
Well,
need a little bit of that to do what we do. You know, we
yeah. Well, Nick always used to say, my husband always he said big dick energy, and I'm like, I don't have one of those. So let's change it a little bit.
exactly.
But yeah.
How did you oh, go ahead, Jen.
Don't worry. Go ahead, Jen.
How did you make the progression to getting where you're at now, riding wise and jumping, and what I can't help at this point in my life. I'm like the old lady mother here, but it's like there's a time that you want to learn and you want to advance and you want to progress and you want to try new things, but then there's also like, okay, well, there's finances and there's injuries and there's, insurance and deductibles and and I don't need to know or anything like that, but I mean, being a personal trainer, it's not like you have a corporate job that has lovely insurance taking care of you.
Yeah. Well,
but
lucky for me, I'm married to the best, who does a great job at also, we're team. So he gets good coverage. We got a good insurance.
good.
Yeah. But yeah, like I guess one year it just clicked. It clicked where it was just like, all right, everything I was doing was working out when it came to like being on my bike. And I was like literally just like, well, fuck, let's keep going. Like the only way is up. And I didn't see any problem with that. And things just started progressing really quickly, and it progressed well, and I wasn't getting hurt and nothing was ever going wrong, and so it just kept on going. And that was the summer before I broke my collarbone, when things just started to like click, and it was just perfect. It was seamless, and I started racing, and I was winning races, and hitting jump lines where like 6 months prior I was like, oh, I would never hit that. Like there's no way I'm ever going to hit that. But then it was just kind of like this, like, well, if I'm not gonna like progress, then like what am I doing? You know? So that's where, yeah, this injury and like, having to take into account, like, I mean, what's nice is I can do my job without, like, my clients can set up their own equipment. It's not the end of the world. And they're pretty used to it, to be honest. Like my job is flexible in that way where it's like, if I'm a little hurt, it's not the end of the world. But that's kind of the reality I've had to come to grips with in the last 6 months to a year. It's just like, how much risk am I willing to take at this point? I mean, getting closer to 30, and I'm like, what am I doing? You start to kind of question, because it's not like I'm going pro. At one point, I legitimately thought I had the capability to go pro somehow. Like it was all just working out perfectly. And honestly, like, I'm not saying it like couldn't, but when you have that like confidence and that like mental, just when you truly believe in yourself and your abilities, like you can do anything. And so I truly thought like I could take this places for sure. But then you think it's like, well, but I live in a beautiful town. I have a perfect husband. I literally have it all. And it's like to give all, like, because I like that balance. I like the balance that I have. And so it's like, when you really think of what it takes to be like a pro racer, like that's a whole life you're giving. And I love biking, and I had a hard time differentiating the fact that I love biking with like biking is my identity. Um, because getting hurt, like you don't have that part. So you're just kind of sitting here like, who am I? And like, what do I have without that? And so it really does make you um just cherish the people in your life and the community that you have, and like really come to grips with who you are, like independently of anything else. Um, and creating just kind of that peace in your life. Well, yeah.
For sure. I think rediscovering yourself after an injury that we actually talked about on our first episode, the thoughts after an injury. There are different thoughts
Mm-hmm.
than you've ever thought. But
Mm-hmm.
exactly, you'd probably send anything and not have a blink in your eye. And that was kind of the same thing for me when I first started riding dirt bikes. I came from horses,
Mm-hmm.
and I did as much as I possibly could and tried to excel as fast as I could until I
Mm-hmm.
had 2 injuries in a year. And then all of a sudden, no confidence, and you're like, but am I also going to live my life like this? And it's really kind of
Yeah.
finding that line, right, of what you
Yeah.
are happy with doing that's within reach. I mean, I think we can reach anything we want to do at some point,
100%.
but at the end of the day, what really matters? Because like you said, going pro, whether it's mountain bikes or dirt bikes, when you actually look at how many times or how many weekends they're actually available, is small. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes we almost want that big, but we realize, wait, we actually have a lot right here that is so important to us right now.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you get to be a part of a community. I mean, you guys doing this podcast. I mean, that's a beautiful way, and like to be within this community and to create like a something like, what's the word I'm looking for? To just like fill a gap essentially in like, I mean, in podcasting, in for me in training, like where other people are going to want to connect with you and are going to find those connections and feelings and like relatable material, and like you don't have to be like the best in the world, or like the top dog in free ride or whatever, to make an impact on people. Like those are the people that we look up to and that we aspire to be like and to encompass, but your direct reach and who you are um has the same effect as well. So
Yeah, and I
Thank
think a lot
you.
of it comes down to like your own personal fulfillment and not
yeah.
getting distracted by, okay, what is this person doing? What is that person doing? What is this
Hmm.
person saying I should do or who I should become? And
Oh
I
yeah.
have conversations with a lot of people in the business world, and they're just like, well, you could be doing this. Why aren't you doing it? And I'm just like, yeah, but like what it would take to get there, do I really want that? And
Hmm.
you're always constantly questioning like what is it I really want? And
Yeah.
especially when you have like the world at your fingertips in so many ways and you can do
Hmm.
anything, but it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what do I want? What will fulfill me? What
Yeah.
And like you said, like I love I'm saying you saying this, but you're like, I love my husband, I love my town, I love my community. Like life is
Hmm.
good. Like, why do I want to go and change it?
Yeah.
And really, really identifying like what's bringing you joy in the moment.
Yeah. No,
And that
for
can
sure.
change. They say life happens in like 7-year chapters. So like, maybe in another 7 years you'll things will change. But like right now, things are great. Things are good, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So we actually
Awesome.
had a question, and because just your conversation right there of everything you were saying really brought me back to this question. We got a question from Jordan Hooker, and Jordan,
Bless her heart. Fucking love her to death.
well, she says that about you.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, so she says, my question would be around her mindset. She is always so positive. How does she push through the hard times and the hard thoughts and just keep such a sunny disposition?
Oh, that's a great question. Um, gosh, I don't know. I'm honestly, that's been harder in the last like 6 months than it ever has been. But in all truthfulness, I mean, like, knowing that what's happening is you're growing, you're becoming more aware, you're becoming more you, and hard times make you that. Um, but honest to God, like, I'm just like really laid back person. Like, I'm very much just go with the flow. Like, um, so many things bring me happiness and joy, and like the fact that I get to just connect with people on a daily basis and move my body and like spend time with family and like I don't know, it's I I always do what I want, if that makes sense. Like we don't have kids, we don't have a lot that like ties us down, and so we don't like dual income. No, what is it? Dinkwad? Dual income, no kids with a dog. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it's the life to live. Um, and like yeah, I'm not afraid to just do what I feel in the moment, what makes me happy. I try to be really self-aware, and just yeah. I mean, I don't have a perfect answer, but I
Yeah,
think that's
I
kind of the
think
key.
I think
Chasing after your
you are very self-aware.
thank you.
Um and I think that's like really important to be able to analyze your situation, your surroundings,
Mhm.
again, like what it is that you want and what makes
Yeah.
you happy. And I
Yeah.
think when you can understand that, it definitely helps. But much like you said, when you go through hard times, like had, I was always like sunshine and rainbows. And I would have
Mhm.
people tell me like the world isn't like unicorn and rainbows. And I'm like, but it is, it
You're
is.
like,
Like,
but why not?
I don't know, why not? The sun's
Yeah.
shining, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
And but then yeah, we went through like a little bit of a struggle between my husband's accident and some other things that happened. And I had never been in a hard position in my life. Like for me, that was my hardest chapter of my life. Maybe not
Yeah,
somebody else's, but for me, that was hard. And I couldn't talk
for
about it
sure.
because I wasn't really good at not being sunshine and rainbows. And so I really
For
had to
sure.
like learning how to go through that, how to grow through that and
Mhm.
understand that, okay, this is temporary. And
Mhm.
the next thing we're working towards to get out of this is just it's just going to take time and patience, so just keep going, keep trucking
Yeah.
along, it's going to get better. And it
Yeah.
did.
Of
And
course.
and now I'm like finally feeling back to myself. It took almost like I think it's been 3 years. His accident was in 2021 and it's been 3 years. Yeah. So
Mhm.
I went from like the best time of my life to the hardest 3 years I've ever been through, and I'm now
For
finally
sure.
recovering. But I think, like you said, like that things are happening and you're just changing and growing, and
Mhm.
it's all gonna turn out just fine.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I mean, if you're always pushing towards the things that are gonna make you happy and give you fulfillment, um, and making sure that you have those important people in your life that are there supporting you and cheering you on too, um, then you just trust that it's all gonna work out.
So you moved, you're talking about supportive people. You moved to Boise, so you're not
Mhm.
from there.
Yep.
And how did you find your community there in Boise?
Well, well, I didn't, like, find it right away, because like, I had lived here about a year before I met my husband, and, prior to that, like, I mean, I was still, like, living at home, like, I had, like, just moved out, so, like, I was very much like, I had my family, I went to church a lot, like, had all that, and that was great. Really sprouting into my own, um, Nick and I, we're besties, like, we've been attached at the hips for 10 years, um, like, for the first, gosh, 5 years of our relationship, like, we were honestly very content just, like, being with each other. Like, I had friends that I made at the random jobs that I had and, like, here and there, but I never truly, like, had found, like, a good, like friend-based community that I really felt like I belonged in. And because like I'm a people person, I could be friends with anyone. So like, you know, I just dabbled for a while. And then one day, Nick went dirt biking with some people. He was meeting a friend, but they had brought their friends. And he comes back from this dirt bike ride. I couldn't go for some reason. I don't remember. And he's like, babe, there was this girl there. I think you guys could be friends. I'm like, okay. So meet her. And honestly, like then the friend group, the community, it just blossomed because her and I connected immediately. We got really close. She was a mountain biker, she was a dirt biker. And then like connected with some of her friends, and we really just had this really awesome group of people. And just then throughout, just like always going everywhere together, like doing the things, like whether we're at the track or whether we're at like Eagle Bike Park or whatever it is. It attracted more people, and so like we just were always making more connections and more friends. Fast forward to now, I had 4 best friends and none of them live here anymore.
That is the
They've
story of
all
my
moved away.
life.
Yeah.
Why does that always happen?
I don't know. To challenge us, to, you know, put you outside your comfort zone so that you grow. I don't know. And so honestly, like that's been hard. Like there's still an awesome, like I still have lots of great friends, lots of great you know, uh bike gals that love to go biking with. But yeah, it's never quite been the same, which is kind of a bummer. But again, it's just creating more opportunity, and it gives me more time to hone in on what I really want out of, you know, my career and out of TrailMix, and just put more time and focus into that because I'm not getting wasted with my friends every other weekend, you know. Like, guys, I can't drink this much alcohol anymore, okay?
Right?
Like I can't keep up.
That was why they moved. It was just for the sake of your health.
Probably. It was the party crew for sure.
Good times though.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
you
mean,
need a little something, you know?
yeah. Well, oh, I agree 100%. Mhm. But yeah, the Boise mountain bike community, and like I'm not disregarding moto. Like mountain biking has just very much become like my main thing. And if you want to put it this way, I still can't load my dirt bike into my own truck. So there's always that like hindrance. Um, but so like yeah, the mountain bike community is very much like my thing. And because Boise is so like small, like it's, you know, it's growing, it's a bigger city, but it's also like small-ish. They're so supportive, so supportive. I've gotten nothing but love and support from some of like a lot of our mountain bike community leaders and everything in the city, especially for TrailMix. And like the thing about Boise, people love like small businesses and little cute, you know, everything like that. And so this is the place to be for this kind of thing for sure.
So when I went out there for the first time, I was I was like, oh, this is like, it is a cool city because yeah, it's a city, yeah, it's growing, but people were so nice. And I went, I can't even say what I told my husband when I got home, but let's just say I told my husband, I was like, I felt like I was in a different world over there.
Uh-huh.
My mom had moved out there because she met well, we'll say her husband. We'll just call her husband at this point. But she met him and he's from there. And so he had come here into Connecticut and lived here for a bit, but he was like the nicest person in the world, you know? And then you go there and I meet his family and then the nicest people. And then we're walking through Boise and looking, I forget what we were looking for. And someone was like, oh, what are you looking for? And we told him and he was like, I'll take you. Come right this way. We're like, okay. Like, who are these people?
Oh, yeah.
Where have I been transported to? But yeah, I think there is definitely a good culture out there.
Yeah. I always say it's our little bubble. every time we leave and like travel somewhere else, it's like always such a relief to come home because it really is. And if you ever want me to drive more than 5 minutes, I'm gonna be mad. Like straight up, that's how it is around here.
So where is the closest bike park that you guys go to? So you have a bike park and then downhill as well, like two separate places?
Yeah. There's 2 bike parks now. One is like more like 20 minutes away, and then there's one like less than 10 from where we live. And then yeah, so Bogus is like our main mountain resort, Bogus Basin. They mostly just did skiing up until the last like handful of years. They really started diving into their bike park. And then the Boise Mountain Bike Festival started, oh gosh, like maybe it's 4 years ago. This one will be 4 or 5 years ago. And it's really just grown and grown and grown ever since. But also just the investment of all the people that have been trying to, they're building the trails and they're just creating more opportunities. Like there's just so many people that want to see as much opportunity in the mountain bike community as possible. And just watching it all grow and just like, again, like everybody kind of knows everyone. And so it's really a community effort. And yeah, so that's kind of our main place. We're actually going, it's opening weekend this weekend. So we're going to go this weekend.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, super excited. And they've been building a lot of new stuff up there as well and just pouring into that. So it's been really, really awesome.
That's fun. Yeah, I feel like the mountain bike community, I mean, all the communities are tight knit their own way, but mountain biking, I feel is so accessible that
Yes.
It's like we have the NEMBA, like Northeast Mountain Bike Association here, that has been like building trails like crazy, and getting trails in new places that we didn't have them before, and building new features. And it is cool to see like how everyone comes together to make everything for everyone else to use.
Yeah, no, it's grown a lot in the last few years. And the part of the most fun thing is seeing all like the little rippers, like they're fearless and they all progress so quickly. And so, I mean, what a place to live, to have the opportunity to just like go to your bike park that you could literally bike to, because that's how small Boise is. And yeah, it's just great.
I think it's super funny also that you say like can't load your bike by yourself. Same. I cannot. I fully admit that. And that is why I really have found a completely newfound love for mountain bikes, because it's allowing women to they can load their own bike. They can take their front wheel off if they have to, if they have a little car. Like you don't have to have a van. You don't have to have a truck. Like it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm happy to hear that as well.
It's way more accessible. Like I always loved back when, gosh, like Jess, you probably remember like when the moto girl scene on Instagram was like just picking up, and like we all had our cute little pictures by our dirt bikes, and it was just like, and that's all it was. It was before Reels, and everybody was just cute as hell in their little Fast House outfits, or maybe O'Neill or something like that. And I just remember like being so defeated. I was just like, I can't fucking load my bike into the truck. Like, how is everybody doing it? I was just like sitting here like baffled. I tried so many different things, and like, unless you want to buy that like $300 ramp or something, and I was just like, I got a guy for that. Like, it's like I wanted this independence so badly, but it's like, I'm gonna swallow my pride here and get over it.
Yeah, my friend Monica Gilliam, she would always post reels of like her loading her bike, because she is so independent, and it's awesome to see. And I don't know if her background has anything to do with it. She's an immigrant. Like she wasn't. Sometimes I feel like it does have a lot to do with it, but she wasn't born here. I think she moved here when she was 10. She's from Czech Republic, and I think she just, through that, and just riding with her dad and growing up riding, she just has so much independence. And I love seeing that of her with her bike. She loves riding, and she will.
And that's amazing.
I love it. Like, I'm so jealous. I'm like, I want to be you. But yeah,
right?
it's cool to see. I mean, and everyone's different. And I think also, kind of like you said with the Little Rippers, you know, when you start off little and you're kind of learning how to manage the bike at that age when you're younger, and you kind of grow up with it, I definitely think it's different than starting when you're a little bit older and just jumping into like a full-size bike. Like, I think there's something different going on there.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, jumping into anything as an adult, number one, is like way more scary. And number two, I mean, for many reasons, honestly. And then number two, it's just like you just have to let all your pride go. It's just like, I am completely a learner and I don't know what I'm doing, and I need to accept that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking, when it comes to totally switching gears here, but TrailMix Training, what does it look like when somebody signs up to work with you? Like, from the whole process, like, what does the start look like? What are they getting for support? And then what's the app look like?
Yeah. So, well, because the app is very much just like you do it yourself. So on demand is something that I just launched in the last couple months. And this was kind of the vision for it. It's programs that I've created that have that I mean, spent so much time making them. Multiple different programs. The ones that are up right now are just geared for mountain biking. There are dirt biking and skiing to come. Just haven't gotten that far. One woman show, you know. But so they're just different programs. When people sign up for the subscription on the app, it's like any like fitness app, right? You pay monthly. You have access to currently 4 different programs. And then it's all set out for you. It's like, here's what you do on day 1. Here's what you do on day 2. Here's what your additional cardio is. Here's your warm-ups, your cool downs. And all of that is just laid out for you. There's a way to track. I mean, you can track your progress not only through, like, you know, it prompts you to do the whole picture thing and whatever. And like, if you're into that, great. If you're not into that, who cares? For the most part, we're all here to just be like athletic. So like, I mean, I don't have 6-pack abs for a reason. Balance, baby, it's fine. But yeah, so you sign up, and then you get to track all of your progress and your weights and like all those things. And you literally it's a no-brainer. Like, you go in, you click start, and you just follow the workout. Super simple.
How long are most of the workouts?
Honestly, like more like 40 to 50 minutes. So it's not super time consuming. There's 3 currently on these programs. There's 3 workouts a week. I'm like blanking now. But yeah, currently the 3 workouts a week. And then it gives you the recommendation for like how much you can be riding and like all these things. But I always say, like, our priority obviously is riding. And so if you're missing a workout to ride, like, who cares? The whole point is to see the translation onto your bike. And obviously, like, nothing can make up for seat time. That just is what it is. Cause I've literally, like, you know, TikTok is a funny place. The only place I've like ever gotten hate is on TikTok. And I literally never post anything on there. But they're cruel over there.
Oh my God. I had to step away from TikTok. So I had a few reels go viral for my detailing business, because I have a monetized YouTube channel with detailing. And I was like, maybe I'll cross promote on TikTok. And I started over there, and I was like, I can't handle y'all. I'm checking out. And they are brutal. My God.
Right. That's what it was like a comment, like, pretty sure like the best way to get better is to like bike. And I'm like, well, no shit, Sherlock. Like, obviously. But obviously there are things you can do to enhance your biking, right? So yeah, so like obviously the key component is biking, and that's what we care about, biking or dirt biking or whatever. So it's laid out in a format to where it's like, if you're not getting all 3 workouts in a week, it's not going to like set you back. And you can also continue through the programs even more than once. Biggest thing for people is usually not having the consistency within their workout programs. And so like, yeah, the work, it's an 8-week program, but I even found when I was first starting out with fitness, it's just like, yeah, I went through that program like sort of like 6 times, but like keeping the consistency of the program, that's going to give you the results and the progression that you're looking for. So, but yeah, there's at home one, there's an at home version, there's a beginner version, and then like the traditional like let's fucking get it version. And then I did a bikes and booty challenge back in January, which was
I wanted
like,
to do that and I
yeah,
didn't.
No, you still could. I could just send you the program, babe. It's all yours. Yeah, emphasis on building the glutes. This is just very much like me in a nutshell, but also then getting that athletic development from on the bike. So, but yeah, super fun one.
What are your thoughts on like strength training for biking, like in general? Are you like, when it comes to like cardio or leg strength or core strength, like I don't know, what are your all of it? Like,
you're just like, I don't know the
like,
question, but yeah, no, for sure. Like strength training in general is just going to give you more control. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be able to last longer. You're going to have more power. You're going to, I mean, obviously like cardio is an important aspect. But you can train your endurance on the bike. And you can, but you can.
I also don't think like nothing else will get you better cardio than just riding. Like it took me 3 years to build up my endurance on a mountain bike to be able to finally break 10 miles or whatever, it takes forever, and no cycle class or no cardio is ever going to do that for you in the gym.
Right. Well, because you have to think too, is like most of the time your terrain is changing constantly. And so to have like that extra leg strength and power, and to have more efficiency in your strength so that you can leave more energy for your breathing and your endurance, or vice versa even, that's gonna help you just have an easier ride. But yeah, all the aspects when it comes to strength training, that's all going to be beneficial for anything you're doing on your bike. Essentially, what we want is to not feel pooped out from biking. And we want to be able to ride longer, ride faster, and be less prone to injury. And strength training takes care of all of that.
Yeah. And especially long term, getting older. Obviously, the story with your client, it helps so much. Bone density, all of that. What do you take? Do you take any supplements? What kind of supplements are you a fan of?
Yeah, I'm taking. I mean, I really just, for the most part, I focus on my protein. So mostly just protein powder. I haven't, but should take creatine because there's so much science that backs the what's the word I'm looking for? It's good for you. It's good for your training. It's good for your recovery. And it helps with all those things. Honestly, like I don't really do much else. I mean, take a prebiotic, probiotic, good things like that. And honestly, like those are the things that make me feel my best. Electrolytes daily, especially in the summer, especially for rides. But yeah, focusing on that protein is your number one priority, because that's how you're going to rebuild your muscle tissue and feel recovered for the next day.
Yeah. Are you a meal prepper, or are you go with the flow?
I have high hopes for myself. No, I honestly, we cook like 3 or 4 times a week. I I don't meal prep or anything. I really just try to focus on what protein I'm getting during the day. I'm not going to say, in all honesty, we eat out quite a bit. We're just busy people, and that's kind of the reality of how life works. And I haven't created any perfect like routine or anything to actually have it set up perfectly every day. But that's not to say that you can't make improvements and still feel good and like live a healthy, happy life. It's about every choice that you make, for sure.
The work in progress, you know.
It's always, I mean, yeah, I've always said like the fitness aspect of everything, like got that dialed. Like I'll work out every day. I don't need to force it. I don't need to like convince myself like, oh, bitch, you gotta go work out now. Like that comes naturally. It's literally the food, and I hate cooking. I do. And and Nick doesn't like cooking either, so we're both just fucked.
Yeah. I hear that.
Balance.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I always say. It's like all things in balance. Like, look, I want to live a happy life. So, yeah.
I'm just gonna pull up. Jen, if you have any questions, go ahead. I know we had one random question and then another, I think, legit question. So I was just gonna look them up.
Yeah. Yes, there was, I think, one more thing to tackle. At least. What helps you stay focused on the bike when you feel like you're riding back at basics?
Yeah, I've been there. I mean, knowing that you've been there before, and like you know that like your physical, like I kind of mentioned this, but knowing that your physical capability is there, like you've been there. And honestly, always like wrapping it back to like Nick always has to remind me of this constantly, because I'm somebody I'm just very like goal focused and like driven and always looking to excel and get better. And he's like, just have fun. Like what, like always just take it back to just, it's fun. Like, why did you start biking in the first place? And like not being hard on yourself just because maybe you're having an off day or you're coming back from injury. It's like it takes time to get over mental barriers a lot. And so to just remind yourself why you're there, and usually taking that pressure away helps you just kind of flow a lot better and not feeling like there's just this like, oh, I need to be back to where I was. Because I mean, it will come. It will. It's repetition. And yeah, it'll come.
Love that.
So we have one more question, and this is
Mhm.
really deep.
Ooh.
Oh God. Wait, are you joking? You're laughing, so I feel like you're kind of kidding.
I hope you're ready for this. Okay. And I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know what I would choose. Would you rather fight 10 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck? 10 duck-sized horses.
Ducks. Okay, so little horses. Or one giant duck.
Or one horse-sized duck.
I'm more interested in seeing what these little horses look like.
Right?
So I'd probably go with the little horses, because what it would be like the size of, it's like little dogs, but not.
I don't know. Mini horses are kind of wild.
I guess you guys are both, you're horse girls. I guess I don't know much about horses. But I'm not really sure I'm interested in seeing a ginormous duck.
Right?
Yeah.
A horse-sized duck. That'd be kind of scary.
I'd say so. Especially if it could fly, but never mind. I'm not even going to ask that question.
Are we talking farm ducks or mallard ducks?
You think I know the difference? I have no idea.
You have a lot of ducks in the ponds there in Boise.
Mostly geese, honestly.
Yeah.
They're disgusting.
Jen, do you have anything else you want to ask Grace?
I was trying to think. I feel like we've gone over a lot and it's been super fun and super exciting listening to everything here. I think it's really funny that you're like, yeah, my 4 closest best friends moved away. Because I think at some point we all go through that, right? Like, we moved to North Carolina and then I'm like meeting new friends. And then we moved to another part of the state and it just like start over again. Like, all right. But I think it's so cool of having this community that even though now Jess and I are close right now, usually we're about 800 miles away. And I'm assuming you're at least 1,400 maybe ish, I don't know, far, right? So
super far.
It's so fun, between
away.
all of these different things, we are, the same in some ways, right? We all are going through at some point a mental block or thinking different thoughts or going through those injuries or feeling those mental whatever it might be. And it's just so fun to be able to connect with someone else and be like, hey, we're actually very similar. We just live very far away.
Yes, exactly. For sure. I know that's what's so cool about this and what you guys are doing. I think it's just a way to bring us all together and to share our journeys. And like, you just know that like you're never alone. You know that other people have been going through the same things. And so it's important to share that and be transparent and authentic with what you're going through because somebody else might need to hear it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Always.
And it creates like such an immediate connection. So just like going through and having conversations and actually getting to know people, like I've listened to podcasts and then I'm like, oh my God, I want to be friends with that girl. Like that girl's awesome. Or I like her now so much more, because you'll see a version of that person online and who they show themselves as on Instagram. But then you like hear their conversation and you hear their voice and you hear their tone and you hear their stories and you're like, oh my God, that is not how I pictured her to be. Like, I want to be friends with her now. And that happens a lot. And that's what I think is really cool about the podcasts and actually talking things out is people actually get to know people for who they really are versus just the pictures of who they think they are.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's definitely that like wall up on social media where it's like, this is the visualization and like the person that you can create essentially. And it's not like you're purposely trying to create something different than, but it's just not that meaningful. And so this definitely gives more of that, that vibe.
Yeah. And I think like, I always call it like an internet personality. Like I have like an internet personality where I'm just like, I'm a little nutty, like, or whatever.
You're cute and quirky. I love it.
Just like,
that's how I've always like,
thought of you. Whatever. It's just like fun. And but like, I'm home by myself so often, or, I work by myself all day. My husband's away at work all day. And I'm just like talking on Instagram, like, what random thoughts do I have today? So, but it's like, there's different, I don't want to say there's different versions of you, but, there's down to earth. I can have a deep conversation. There's business me. There's quirky me on Instagram. So yeah, just getting to actually know people and who they are is awesome.
100%. We have a lot of, I'm about to say layers, but that's just making me think of Shrek. But yeah, there's your baseline and then it's, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So you gave our listeners a 20% off for their first month of on-demand trail mix. So guys, we're going to post that. I'll let you know what it is right now. It is RAD20, RAD20. If you guys want to get 20% off your first month on the Trail Mix app platform, definitely go do that. I'm probably going to sign up because I need my butt kicked for a little bit.
Girl, you get it.
Maybe we can maybe we can like all do like our community, like if everyone that signs up like gets into like a group, that'd be so fun.
Yes, I can figure out how to do that. Like I said, I even just like running the goddamn app, I'm just like, I don't know how to do this, but it's fine. We'll just figure it out as we go.
Yeah, I hear that. Then that's what we said about this podcast and like everything else. I'm like, just dive in. I'm like, it might be ugly to start, but just dive in and do it because you're gonna fine tune it. And the more that you just do it, the more you force yourself to figure it out. But
exactly.
Yeah, guys. So go ahead and get your 20% off. The code is RAD20, and we'll also drop it in the show notes in the description. So it'll be there for you guys as well, along with your website, which is trailmixtraining.com. Is that right?
Nailed it. Yep. Kept it simple.
Awesome. Grace, thank you so much for coming on today. It was awesome
Gosh,
getting to
ladies.
chat.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I appreciate it so much.
Okay, I just want to stop the recording.